Okay, I think we can start. So, hi everyone. My name is Marco. I am a member of the class of 2027. I am this year's current core team captain, and I work in the Office of Student Transitions and Family Engagement. And today we're hosting one of our Hop on Board webinar series. And today we'll be talking about transfer students and how to find off-campus housing. And if we go to the next slide, please, I'll present our panelists. Firstly, we have John Walter. He's our JH student and community liaison. And we also have Jelita Valero, who is our off-campus housing transition administrator.
Thank you, Marco. Welcome to Hop on Board, and we're talking about off-campus housing and finding your new home in Baltimore. Congratulations to everyone who will be joining us this upcoming fall, and we're excited to have you. So these are our off-campus milestones. All students go through this process, though some students will be going through this process in a couple of days. It might take a couple of weeks to go through this entire process, from evaluating your means and needs to getting to know your neighborhood to reaching out, signing a lease, and applying with the properties that we have around campus. So our university partners with over 20 properties around the Homewood campus. These properties are within a 5 to 10 minute walk to our library, which we consider the center of campus. But to your classes, that walk could range from 5 minutes to 15 minutes, depending on what side of campus you end up choosing to live on. All of these properties can be explored through our Blue Brochure, which you can acquire through our office, as well as this Blue Brochure has been sent to you when you signed up for the series, but we can also follow up. It's an apples and apples comparison to the different properties, from the amenities and utilities that each property has to the cost of that property when you, as an incoming fall student. Things to consider and talk to your families about and potential roommates is to frame expectations, costs, security, distance, amenities. Take the time to research and find properties that meet your needs, while also having those conversations of what you're willing to be responsible for. Though commercial properties might be a little bit more expensive. They come with maintenance teams. While if you choose to live in a residential property, there's more responsibility that comes when you live in a row home or a townhouse near the university. Understand the leasing process. The leasing process can be different for each building as well as for residential properties, as those are all dependent private landlords. And have those conversations now with possible co-signers, whether those co-signers are potential roommates or a guardian. Read your lease before signing. Some leases can be 20 pages, while some leases can be up to 70 pages, and there's hidden clauses in those leases. So we really recommend reading the entire lease before signing and paying your deposit. So around the Homewood campus, you have two options. You can go commercial properties, which would be the apartment buildings around campus, or you can go residential, which are private houses that are for rent around the campus. So commercial properties, you can look through our Blue Brochure. They come with management teams, emergency maintenance. Many of the buildings around campus come with security as well as pest control if you have any issues in your building. So the benefits is that you have that additional support and there's a team within the building. If you choose one of our commercial properties that we have partnerships with, you can also reach out to our office if you have any issues or need someone to assist with liaisoning between you and management. With residential properties, you can have more independence. You tend to be more in the Baltimore area and a little bit farther away from the school. And Living in a row home would allow you to live in larger groups. Now, in Baltimore City, only four unrelated people can live in a house together, but there are some properties that get special um, code enforcement that allows larger groups to live in those houses. So it's not uncommon to find houses that do allow 6 or 7 students to live in there. But when you're looking for their residential license, you must ask that they have that special addendum that they're allowed to have larger groups live in those properties. And you can use our off-campus housing database to search for those properties. So on our off-campus housing database, now that you have committed to Hopkins, you should get your JHU email if you haven't already. And once you've set up your JHU email, you'll be able to log into our off-campus database at offcampushousing.jhu.edu. Once you've logged on, you can search using proximity to campus, but there's also a roommate profile feature. We highly recommend that students use the roommate profile feature to connect with other potential roommates before coming to campus. I partially manage the database, so I see that some of y'all have already started creating those roommate profiles, and we really recommend using that roommate profile feature to search for roommates. When private landlords apply to advertise on our database, we do look for rental licenses, and we look that they have everything that they're needed through the city before we approve their listing, which is a big difference between looking on Craigslist or Facebook. We have had students in the past scam through those websites, which is why we don't recommend that students look for their off-campus housing home through private landlords through Facebook. Budget and financial aid. So financial aid is based on tuition costs, books, and personal expenses. And the estimate that you get from the financial aid office is for 9 months of housing and food expenses. So if you sign a 12-month lease, you must come up with a plan on what are you going to do with those 3 months that are not accounted for financial aid. Usually students set aside part of their financial aid package to cover those 3 months, while others will actually sublet or relet their apartment during the summer to other students that are staying on campus that may be going from on campus to off campus during the summer, just to cover those 3 months. But if you are basing your needs by financial aid and you're not planning on staying over the summer, you must come up with a plan on how you're going to afford your apartment over the summer. The 25-26 academic year estimate is $15,381 or $1,709 a month if you're planning for 9 months of living expenses. Disbursements are processed at the beginning of each semester, and students should plan to pay for any initial costs to be out of pocket. The refund received is intended to be towards your off-campus expenses per your own discretion. So how financial aid works is whatever account or bank account you have with the university, you'll get a lump sum in the fall and the lump sum in the spring, and it is your responsibility to budget your financial aid package out, whether that is for the 9 months or whether you pick a 12-month lease. An example would be for this last 24-25 school year. So the financial aid package for this last upcoming school year was roughly around $1,659. So it did go up for this upcoming year. The average rent that we see per student who lives in a 2-bedroom apartment who is sharing that apartment with one other student is around $993, with $80 for electric, $70 for heating. Water can range between 10 to 18, $6 for sewage, and renter's insurance around $28. So those fixed expenses for a student living off campus is around $1,213, with a remaining balance of $446. We recommend budgeting around $350 for meals, but if you choose to eat out versus if you're cooking for yourself, that can really affect how much money you have aside for your living expenses. All of the properties around the Homewood campus recommend that you have renter's insurance. So property landlords do have their own insurance, but that insurance covers their belonging in their property. If anything happens to your property while living in living in a commercial property or with a private landlord, if you do not have renter's insurance, then you would be responsible for the damages or to replace your own belongings. So we highly recommend getting renter's insurance, which uh, can cost between $22 to $28 in this area per month. So for example, while preparing a bath, a student got distracted and caused the tub to overflow onto the floor and into the apartments below. Management informed him that he was financially responsible for the water damage due to his negligence. The cost of the repair and the damage was $30,000. The student was 100% covered through their renter's insurance. A lot of renter's insurance also cover the theft of your property, even if that theft does not happen inside your property. So there has been, for example, there has been a situation where a student had accidentally left their backpack outside on their porch. It got stolen, and that renter's insurance covered the replacement of their computer and their books. So we highly recommend getting renter's insurance. And I will pass it over to John.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Walter. I am the Student Community Liaison and work out of the Off-Campus Housing Office. I deal with the row homes and the private houses out within the communities surrounding the university. And it's important that if that's what you choose, that you get to know your neighbors, your immediate neighbors. It's very important to build the rapport from day one, exchange information, just greet them, get to know them a little bit. It goes a long way in introducing yourself, as well as community members. Once you're established, classes kick off. It's good to get to know the community association, look at their websites, if possible, with your schedules, join the community meetings. To have a voice in the community, it is your community as well. You're paying to live there. And that's one thing that's lacking within the community associations is the student voice on those in those meetings. So it's very important that you get to know the community in which you're choosing to live. As Jalitza mentioned, for row homes or for commercial properties, you have the maintenance and on-site folks. It's a little different in row homes because your lease will spell out what you're responsible for, what your landlord will take care of, and how soon they will take care of it. Some of the home and maintenance is your responsibility, including pest control. But many of them do have plans contracted with companies, but that's something that you really need to check out because that could be an additional expense for you on top of your rent and the other things that you're responsible to pay for. I've talked about neighbor relations. Safety awareness is very important. We do have a robust shuttle service around the Homewood campus that goes downtown to Cary, down to the medical campus, Peabody campus. There's a night ride program. So all of this, as fall hits, it gets dark very early. Utilize that shuttle service unless you have a group of individuals that you're, going back home with or whatever. Just make sure you use that for your safety. It is a free service. The night ride is by the Translock app that you can download on your phone to see the schedules and request rides. Trash and recycling is probably one of the main complaints that I get out and about in the community with improperly discarded trash. Each house is provided a trash can by Baltimore City as well as a recycle can. Make sure that the trash is in there. Tuesdays out in the community is trash day. Thursdays are recycling. You can put out as much recycling as you want. However, trash must all be in the receptacle that the city has provided. If it does become a mess, the code enforcement will come out and issue citations for improperly disposed trash. Next slide. You saw this map earlier, and just to touch base on this a little bit, the blue dotted line that outlines the majority of the neighborhoods outside of campus, that is the patrol boundary for public safety. That does not mean that public safety does not go beyond those boundaries, but that is where they focus their attention in their patrolling. There are multiple levels of security that Johns Hopkins provides. One being contracted security through Allied Universal that is out on the street corners. And over to the bottom right, from 6 at night to 2 in the morning is additional security on each block of that area, just to ensure student safety as they're walking to and from. The second level is our Johns Hopkins Public Safety. They are in vehicles that patrol the areas. It's divided up into several posts, just like the police department, where they would patrol and respond to any issues that are called in or intervene if they see something that needs attention. The third level is contracted Baltimore City and Baltimore City Sheriff's deputies that work part-time for the university. They are off-duty, working as an employee of Hopkins in Hopkins vehicles. And this is important because they have full jurisdiction out and about in the community with arrest powers and be able to take action immediately. We do have our Johns Hopkins Police Department that does patrol this area as well. So there are multiple levels of security to ensure student safety.
Also, this map outlines many of the things around campus. So we have our restaurants, we have 2 to 3 grocery stores. There's also shuttles that go directly to the grocery stores around the campus. Along with the shuttles that are planned, you can also call a shuttle or a shuttle escort if you're in class late at night or if you don't feel safe walking back home. There are escort services free of charge for students to make sure that everyone gets door to door, safe from the door of your building to the door of your apartment building or your home. But around campus, there are also a lot of walkable coffee shops, restaurants, as well as we have a lot of shuttles that take you to different parts of the city.
One thing additionally I would like to add is that if the shuttle is unavailable or it's going to take a period of time, on the back of your J card is listed all of the important phone numbers that you need. In the event that they're not available, you can call the public safety number. They will send an officer to pick you up and make sure that you get safely to your destination. That is a service. Also, there is an app. Why did it just slip my mind?
Live Safe or Translock?
Live Safe, which is thank you, Julissa, which is an app that you can download. You select the Hopkins, whichever campus you're going to reside near, and you can ask for a walking escort through that app. You can contact public safety through that app. That's an immediate response. So that is an app that you can download. In addition, within that blue dotted line barrier or the defined area, there are blue light cameras. The last count I had was 130. There's probably more throughout the campus and out into the closer community, that if you are in need of assistance, you can hit the button on there. It will activate a siren, a blue light, and as well, cameras are attached to those so that the dispatchers can immediately see what's going on in that area and dispatch officers for immediate response to the issues.
All right, this is our contact information. We are located at the McCoy Hall terrace level, and our offices during the summer, our office hours is from 8:30 to 4:30. You can give us a call or send us an email at offcampus@ghu.edu. I am going to now check the chat or the Q&A.
Yeah, I'd like to remind everyone, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A chat and we'd be more than glad to answer them. And also I've provided our JHU Public Safety phone numbers, the emergency contact and the non-emergency contact. And I also provided the Blue Jay Shuttles office's phone number. I'll give some time to see if anyone has any questions. Oh, thank you for adding the links to the websites as well.
So that first link is our blue brochure that has the side-by-side comparisons of all of our commercial properties that our office works with. Our office also provides services even after you move in. So if you do choose to live in a row home, you're responsible for upkeep of your yard and your front yard. So our office actually provides a tool loaning program through our office, as well as there is a secondary person in our office called Robbie, and she provides workshops throughout the year on how to save money on your utilities, to heat, as well as just fun activities for off-campus students to reconnect back into the campus community. She also does some liaisoning and mediation with roommate to roommate or roommate to landlord issues. So even after you move in, if you feel like your landlord isn't doing their responsibility, you can utilize our office to help.
One additional service that we offer free of charge is that if you do select a row home, that you just contact our office and we'll set up an appointment. I will go to the property with you, either before the lease or after the lease, either way. And I will go through and check all the safety features of the house to make sure that the locks are functional, window locks, look at the fire escape, the windows near the fire escapes, smoke detectors, CO2 detectors and all that to make sure everything's in place. And if there are suggestions that need to be sent to the landlord, I will write up all of the things, email it to you so that you can communicate with your landlord that these things need some attention. And again, that is a free service to you.
I don't see any questions in the Q&A section. I'm gonna give everyone else like one more minute to see if they have any last minute questions.
If you'd like to set up a one-on-one appointment, you can also contact us at offcampus@jhu.edu, and we can set that up also if you need one-on-one assistance with finding your housing for this fall.
Let's see. Well, I don't see any questions in the Q&A section, but if anyone has any questions they'd like to ask in the future, if they forgot to ask something or something comes up later that you have a question about, you can always email off campus and they can help you. So I think we'll wrap it up for today. Thank you. Thank you for everyone that came today. We really appreciate your participation, and thank you to our panelists, Jalissa and John, that took some time out of their day to come here and talk to us about off-campus housing.
Right, thank you and congratulations. We'll see you in the fall.
Thank you and welcome to Hopkins.
Thank you guys. Have a nice night. Bye-bye.